Welcome to another episode, everyone. The Kung Fu Gangster who knocked out Suge Knight, and weeks later, 2 weeks later, in fact, he was shot dead in his home. Not only that, soon after that, his girlfriend was shot dead. Now, here at his name was Bruce Richardson. Now, here at a club, Suge Knight, so let me go back. Suge Knight was connected with this individual, reportedly, allegedly. And Suge Knight owed this individual some money and did not pay him, refused to pay him. So this individual, of course, took exception to that. And they met up one night in a club or party, and Suge Knight tried to take this man's girlfriend, Bruce Richardson. So this girl went up and accosted her, told her, yeah, come with me. Bruce Richardson, he was not having that, already being upset that Suge Knight owed him money and was playing with him. So he uppercutted him, bam, and hit him a couple more times. You seen the footage or you seen the viral photos of Suge Knight on the ground, sleep, laid out? That was Bruce Richardson. Knocked him out cold. Again, 2 weeks later, he was cooked. But this individual had knocked out Suge Knight and Buntry from Pyro.
Yeah, man, you told a story about seeing Buntry and Suge Knight get knocked out by a guy named Bruce.
Was he actually fighting himself, or was Buntry doing the fighting?
They both jumped. They tried to do boom, boom. They lost.
Oh, so this dude Bruce fought both of them at the same time?
They lost, dude.
And I told Bruce, I said, man.
He said they lost. So they put him in it. They lost, dude. And let's just cut that right there. They lost, dude. This dude, Bruce Richard, the Kung Fu Gangster. That's what they call him, the Kung Fu Gangster. He knew that stuff, bro. Bam, bam. Break you off, knock you down. Suge, big as hell. Dropped him. Buntry is not a small individual. According to Keefy D right there, dropped Buntry. This individual, Bruce Richardson. But then again, as I said, things did not end there.
Police behind us. We get in the turning lane at an apartment in Inglewood. And the lit a joint. Right when the police were behind us, lit a joint. And looked at me and said, quit panicking. That's Bruce for you. That had heart, man.
Bruce Richardson to me was a dope boy. He's one of the most successful dope boys in the game at that time.
Suge Knight might have been known as the boogeyman of hip-hop, but even the toughest figures aren't invincible. That was made clear when Suge crossed paths with Bruce Richardson, a man with a serious reputation for fighting.
I was on the other side of the room, but that boy Bruce Richardson beat their ass. You know what I'm saying?
I guess he knew karate?
Yeah.
Bruce wasn't just any street brawler. He was a skilled martial artist and known around his hood as one of the best street fighters out there. His fists had no boundaries, and not even Suge Knight and his entourage were off limits. When the two clashed, Bruce didn't just hold his own. He completely humiliated Suge and his crew. They were beaten so badly that it left a mark on Suge's tough guy persona.
Was he actually fighting himself, or was Buntry doing the fighting?
They both jumped. They tried to do boom, boom. They lost.
Oh, so this dude Bruce fought both of them at the same time?
They lost, dude.
But then, something shocking happened. Just one day after this incident, Bruce was offed under mysterious circumstances.
But then I heard the next day he ended up dead.
Yeah.
There's a lot to uncover, so let's dive in deeper. Bruce Richardson.
So they say the next day he ended up dead. And this, it seems like the narrator just said the same thing, but later on, here, I haven't watched all of this, but later on he says that it was 2 weeks later that he ended up dead, shot inside of his home, which we're about to get to. But again, that's Keefy D, and that was Big U speaking on this individual right here who doesn't look like an intimidating force necessarily. Clearly, this is a picture of him when he was younger, but still. But that's why looks are oftentimes deceiving, or all of the time deceiving, because this individual knocked out Suge Knight and his boy.
Grew up in a modest home on 65th Place in South Central Los Angeles, an area often referred to as Players Land. From a young age, he had a fire in him. At just 8 years old, Bruce started training in martial arts, and it didn't take long for him to master the craft. Over time, he became an exceptional street fighter, known for his unmatched skills. He didn't just fight for show. He won gold medals and trophies, proving his talent. But in the streets, he built a reputation by never backing down from a fight. Word was that Bruce fought at least 20 guys in his neighborhood, and half of them ended up needing hospital care after facing him. Back in the day, the Black Karate Federation was booming in the area. Young men were getting into karate, lifting weights, and unfortunately experimenting with drugs, a dangerous mix that often led to trouble. Despite the chaos, Bruce stood out not just for his fighting skills, but also for his charisma and popularity. At Crenshaw High School, Bruce played varsity basketball and was well known across campus. One day after class, he got into a heated altercation with Big U, another respected figure in the neighborhood. Allegedly, the beef started over a woman, and Bruce didn't hesitate to throw the first punch. He sent Big U flying into the bushes.
And Bruce walked up, and he like, man, yeah, man, woo, and he talking about the chick. But I ain't really tripping off what he's saying, then he just fired him.
Big U fought his way out, and the two continued their battle, turning the schoolyard into a full-blown rumble when the basketball team and some gang members jumped in.
I'm sitting on the wall, and I fall back in the bushes, and I get to kick, and I kick my way out the bushes. But his first L. No, it wasn't an L.
There's long been speculation about whether Bruce was involved in gang life. Some say he briefly ran with the Brims, a notorious gang, while others point out that his home was technically on the mid-love side. However, those close to Bruce have confirmed he wasn't officially tied to any gang. Instead, Bruce had a unique influence over the guys in his neighborhood. He built a strong following, and the crew started calling themselves the 65th Place Hustlers, representing their block, Baby Kansas Avenue. After graduating high school in 1983, Bruce shifted his focus. His goal was clear: make money. And he found the perfect opportunity as the crack epidemic began taking hold in Los Angeles. Bruce quickly became one of the most
Bruce Richardson ended up being the manager for the rap group Dromicidal, and Tupac had took a liking to these individuals and wanted them to perform with the Outlaws. So this individual began to make money. This is how he ended up connecting, or part of the way he ended up connecting with Suge, or at least why he ended up having the fallout with Suge, because Suge ended up owing him money, as it's rumored that he, wasn't doing good business when he was running his company, Death Row. But he owed this individual some bread, apparently, and this is what it was all about. This is what sort of started the conflict, and then again, as we're about to see, Suge ends up trying to grope his girl or grab his girl or whatever. This man knocks him out, and again, sort of unclear as to whether or not he was killed 24 hours later or 2 weeks later, because they said both here, but either way, he was killed soon thereafter. That's for sure.
Successful drug dealers on the west side of South Central, running a lucrative operation.
Bruce Richardson, to me, was a dope boy. He's one of the most successful.
And obviously, this individual has a lot of heart, Bruce Richardson. He has a lot of heart. He done fired on Big U in school, knocked him into the bushes. Big U just admitted, and Big U wasn't that big at that time, obviously in high school and all that. He was rather skinny, in fact, but so is Bruce Richardson, apparently. But he's fighting, individuals that a lot of individuals are scared to fight, would be scared to fight these days, or 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when these individuals had these big names and were such intimidating figures in the culture, if you will. But before that, well, hell, when he knocked out Suge Knight was Suge Knight at that time. Big U wasn't Big U, but Suge Knight was Suge Knight. And he slapped him out there, cold.
The most successful dope boys in the game at that time.
In just 2 years, he was pulling in so much revenue that he was able to pay off his childhood home and buy another property on the next block. He moved his mother to View Park, Windsor Hills, also known as Ladera Heights, so she could live far from the dangers of his business. Meanwhile, he set up an apartment in Inglewood that served as the hub for cooking up product. With hundreds of thousands of dollars pouring in, Bruce had to find a way to legitimize his earnings. In 1986, he officially obtained a business license and opened Genius Hand Car Wash on Crenshaw Boulevard. To keep things running smoothly, he put members of the Rollin' 60s on the payroll, giving them steady work. Bruce wasn't just focused on business, though. He knew how to enjoy the fruits of his labor. He was often spotted driving through the neighborhood in his sleek black Mercedes-Benz, customized with white curtains, turning heads wherever he went. People often underestimated Bruce Richardson because of his clean-cut appearance, but that was a mistake they only made once. One day, he was in line at Ralph's grocery store buying what must have looked like an unusual amount of baking soda with $5,000 in food stamps. As Bruce was waiting, a large, muscular guy who looked like he could have been Debo's twin from Friday started yelling at him for holding up the line. The man kept pushing it, mocking Bruce's suit and stepping into his personal space. Bruce wasn't one to let disrespect slide. Without a word, he hit the guy with a perfectly executed front kick, sending him flying. When the guy tried to recover, Bruce finished the job with a series of well-placed blows. After handling business, Bruce calmly checked out, then slipped the cashier $200 to make sure they didn't call the cops. That was Bruce, a mix of precision, confidence, and generosity. Even seasoned street veterans spoke about Bruce's fearless nature. An OG gang member once recalled a ride with Bruce that left him speechless. They were driving when the OG noticed a police car tailing them.
That must have been real scary for that individual. This dude was real serious about purchasing that baking soda. That baking, he wanted to go. He needed that to cook up his stuff. And this dude complaining about him holding up the line with all of these food stamps. And Bruce then cracked him, then hit him with a kick, dropped him, and then finished him up. That's crazy.
Nervously, he told Bruce about it, expecting him to take some kind of evasive action. But Bruce didn't even flinch. Instead, he lit a cigarette, took a drag, and told the OG to relax. "Ain't nothing gonna happen," Bruce said calmly.
And I told Bruce, I said, man, police behind us. We get in a turning lane at an apartment in Inglewood. And lit a joint. Right when the police were behind us, lit a joint. And looked at me and said, quit panicking. That's Bruce for you. That had heart, man.
Sure enough, nothing did. The OG.
That's one word for it. He had heart. Shit, are crazy. He probably had guns in the car and everything else, but he's just showing that you got to keep your calm in certain situations and believe in what you're doing. The moment that you do start panicking or looking suspicious, then that's when you're in big trouble. The police are behind you in particular. Just keep on going and do what you would do if they were not behind you. If you would light up, if they were not behind you, then still do it now. This way you can just essentially try to throw off the situation. If not, you can be in trouble.
Couldn't believe Bruce's nerve and how unfazed he was, even with the police right on their tail. But Bruce wasn't all toughness and street smarts. He had a generous side too. He was known to spoil the people around him, buying them expensive gifts and making sure they were taken care of.
Bruce went to that jewelry store. He bought a ring for $68,000.
Hey.
He bought a Rolex watch for $44,000. I looked at Bert. I said, man, I'm good, man. He said, nah, I asked you to go me down to the jewelry store. I ain't gonna buy all this stuff and I tell you to pick you something.
By this time, Bruce had built significant wealth through his crack empire and his legitimate businesses, but he wasn't content to stop there. Always looking to expand his income streams, Bruce began exploring new ventures. Inspired by Suge Knight's meteoric rise as the CEO of Death Row Records, Bruce decided he could do the same. Maybe even better. He had the resources, the connections, and the charisma to pull it off. Bruce started managing rap groups, making moves in the music industry, and even earned a mention on Ice-T's legendary track 6 in the Morning. One of the groups he managed, Dramacidal, caught the attention of Tupac Shakur. Pac wanted the group to join forces with the Outlaws as backup performers for his All Eyes on Me album. Bruce, ever the savvy businessman, gave his blessing, but only on the condition that Suge Knight promised him a percentage of the album's royalties. Suge agreed, but after the album was completed, he backed out of the deal and refused to pay Bruce what he was owed. This kind of betrayal didn't sit well with Bruce. He had entered the music industry to build something legitimate and leave the streets behind, but Suge's refusal to honor their agreement reminded him that the industry could be just as cutthroat as the streets. Bruce and Suge had clashed multiple times before things finally reached a boiling point one night at a club. Suge, known for his brashness, approached Bruce's girlfriend and told her to leave Bruce and come with him. Bruce wasn't having it. He walked up to Suge and unleashed an uppercut that dropped him in his tracks. After dropping Suge with a brutal combo, Bruce didn't stop there. He turned his attention to Buntry and gave him a beating too.
Was he actually fighting himself, or was Buntry doing the fighting?
They both jumped. They tried to do boom, boom. They lost.
Oh, so this dude Bruce fought both of them at the same time?
They lost, dude.
They lost, dude. Bottom line, they lost, dude. Man, that's cold, man. Suge Knight goes up to his... So, you just gotta have to be careful who you do business with. You have to be real careful. Suge could have been a billionaire. He could have been so successful. Death Row was already so successful. But you have to take care of your artists. You have to feed your artists. I don't know what happened here. Generally speaking, him, P. Diddy, all of these individuals have had these sort of allegations that they don't look out for their people, and that they steal from them, rob them, etc. Suge Knight apparently had a deal with this individual that he's going to get some royalties. He's going to get a percentage of this album as he's supposed to. This was agreed upon, apparently. And Suge Knight just backs out of it and says, I'm not giving you nothing. You know, we all know that Suge was a bully back in the day, apparently, and in order to build his label. And he just telling this dude, I ain't giving you nothing. That's that. Apparently, he let it go for the time being and only knocked Suge Knight out when Suge got abrasive with his girlfriend and told his girlfriend, come on, you coming with me, while he's sitting right there. He just tell his girl, come on, you coming with me. His girl. Man, you lost your mind. Yeah, he got knocked out. Dude jumped up and cracked him, creamed him. He didn't care how big Suge was. Nevertheless, again, bear in mind, one day later, 24 hours later, or 2 weeks later, or you know what? It could have been 24 hours later, and I think it was his girlfriend that died 2 weeks later. So 24 hours later, though, after knocking Suge out, he was gone.
It took 3 of Suge's other goons to finally contain Bruce and drag him out of the situation. People in the club were stunned. It wasn't a secret that Suge would want revenge after being humiliated like that. Sure enough, just 2 weeks later, Bruce was found shot dead in his own home. At first, the police thought Buntry and Neckbone might have been behind the Emder, since this kind of retaliation was usually their style. But as the investigation continued, it didn't add up. What was puzzling to investigators was
how the hell you know that kind of retaliation was usually their style? Have they been arrested and convicted for anything of the sort? No? Well, no.
How the KEers had gotten into Bruce's home in the first place. Bruce's place was a literal fortress. Reinforced steel doors, double deadbolt locks, heavy bars on the windows, and a complex alarm system. It was clear that whoever offed him had managed to get in, and the only logical explanation was that Bruce had let them in. He wouldn't have just opened the door for Suge's goons, not after the altercation that happened just 2 weeks earlier. He might have opened the door for someone who appeared official, like a few people dressed in police uniforms. The mystery surrounding his death deepened when it was revealed that Tupac, who had built a close relationship with Bruce, had called Bruce's father shortly after the Emder to assure him that he had nothing to do with it. However, Tupac couldn't say the same for Suge Knight. It was clear that Suge's name was hanging in the air, but there was no concrete proof linking him to Bruce's death. Just 2 days after Bruce was offed, tragedy struck again when Bruce's girlfriend was shot to death in a car near some railroad tracks. The circumstance...
Okay, so y'all heard him say 2 weeks later, Bruce was shot to death. Earlier he had said 24 hours, and Keefy D had said 24 hours, or DJ Vlad had asked him, in 24 hours he was dead. Yeah, he confirmed it. So, not sure there, but okay, so 2 days after his death, whenever it was, 24 hours, 2 weeks, 2 days after his death, Bruce Richardson, his girlfriend, the one that Suge Knight, apparently, I'm assuming the same one, is just 2 days after his death. Does he have another girlfriend by now? 2 days after his death, his girlfriend, the one that Suge was reportedly, allegedly aggressive with, wherever they were at, and trying to tell her to come with him, leave him right here, right in this dude's face. Obviously, he was right in his face for him to get upset and knock Suge Knight out. He did this right in his face. Probably grabbed his girl, whatever. And come on, you coming with me. F this dude. What the hell? But so her, after this individual comes up, shot to death, she is killed 2 days after that, 2 days after him. I don't know what the hell that means.
Surrounding her death were eerily similar, and her murder, like Bruce's, remains unsolved to this day. Many still speculate that Suge may have had a hand in both killings, as his reputation for ruthlessness was well known. Suge's history of run-ins with the law, his connections, and his willingness to do whatever it took to maintain.
Both of those are unsolved right now. Both of them are unsolved. No one has been arrested. No one has been convicted. As I say nearly every day on the channel here on the Inside Story with me, Damian Porter, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. When you kill a black man or black woman, the chances of you going to jail, being convicted of this, are very slim. Not to encourage anyone, just to let you know how much black lives do not matter in this country.
Power made him a prime suspect in many people's minds. Suge Knight's reputation for causing chaos and stirring up trouble goes back a long way. He's no stranger to violence and legal issues. In 1995, he pleaded no contest in a federal case for assaulting 2 rappers back in 1992 at a Hollywood recording studio. This earned him 5 years of probation. However, things escalated in 1996. On September 7th of that year, Knight and his death row crew, including Tupac Shakur, got into a violent altercation with Orlando Anderson, a known Crips gang member. This was at a Las Vegas hotel. The fight violated his probation, and by October 22, 1996, Knight was back in jail.
Just 3 days after the awards, Tupac and others attack an LA gang member in a hotel lobby after a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas. The attack will land death row head Suge Knight in jail.
The following year, on February 28, 1997, he was sentenced to 9 years in prison for that violation, but didn't serve the full term. He was released early from FCI Sheridan on August 6, 2001. Unfortunately, Suge couldn't stay out of trouble. In 2003, he was sent back to prison for 10 months after violating his parole when he got into an altercation with a parking lot attendant. By this time, his frequent incarcerations had started to take a toll on Death Row Records' success. Knight's reputation for conflict extended beyond legal issues. In 2006, he had a public fallout with former friend and collaborator.
Yeah, I'll say it took a toll. It took a toll on everything, but at the end of the day, I don't know. Bruce Richardson, he was killed, shot to death, and then his girlfriend 2 days later, under suspicious circumstances or eerily familiar circumstances. This is crazy.
Snoop Dogg after Snoop dissed him in Rolling Stone. Knight's alleged ties to the mob Piru street gang also came under scrutiny in January 2008.
It's not Piru, bro, it's Pyru.
During a police crackdown in Compton. Later that year, on May 10th, Suge got into a fight over money outside a Hollywood nightclub called Shag. The brawl left him unconscious for 3 minutes, but even after regaining consciousness, he refused to cooperate with the police. His troubles didn't stop there. In 2008, while filing for bankruptcy, Knight sued Kanye West over a 2005 shooting incident at one of Kanye's pre-video music awards parties, where Suge himself was shot in the leg. Then, in February 2009, he suffered facial injuries after being punched at a private party in Scottsdale, Arizona. By 2012, Knight was still finding ways to get into trouble. In Las Vegas, he was arrested after cannabis was found in his car, and police discovered several outstanding warrants for past traffic violations. Fast forward to August 24, 2014, and Knight was at another pre-video music awards party, this time hosted by Chris Brown at the 1OK nightclub in West Hollywood. During the event, Knight was shot 6 times but miraculously walked out of the club and into an ambulance. CCTV footage later confirmed that he was the
He shot once. He sued Kanye West for that. That's when he was running out of money, though. He's trying to get some money up. Then he got shot 6 more times, been beat up, knocked out, Now he in prison for a long time. Actually, he's coming home soon now. In prison for murder, manslaughter, whatever it was, whatever it ended up being, running an individual over. But again, this individual could have ended up being a billionaire. Just would have did things differently, let's just say. He went through a lot in his lifetime, but you never know until you walk in a man's shoes. You just never know. Some people say that he deserves his fate, but until you walk a mile in his shoes, just try not to judge.
Intended target of the shooting. Despite the severity of his injuries, Knight didn't cooperate with the authorities investigating the incident. After his release from the hospital a few days later, Suge's friend Keith Middlebrook told reporters that Knight planned to recover quickly and come back stronger. Fellow party attendee Jeezy later shared on The Breakfast Club that he narrowly avoided being shot himself, saying someone had pushed him out of the way just before bullets started flying. Suge Knight's legal troubles continued to mount in late 2014 when he and comedian Cat Williams were both arrested on October 29th for allegedly stealing a camera from a paparazzi photographer in Beverly Hills the month before.
Suge Knight, of course, rap mogul, and Cat Williams, comedian, they're under arrest after a high-profile robbery, I guess you could call it.
Yep, because the men are accused of stealing a paparazzi's camera.
The charge, second-degree robbery. Both Knight and Williams pleaded not guilty, but the drama didn't end there. While in jail, doctors discovered Knight had a blood clot in his lung, adding—
Damn, a blood clot in his lung? That's not good. But I'm going to assume this whole fiasco about stealing a camera was about the paparazzi trying to film them, take pictures of them when they didn't want this to happen, so they snatched the camera, took the camera or whatever from this individual. How else would they steal it? Paparazzi set the camera down and they jumped out of their Rolls Royces and went over there and stole the camera? No, I don't think that's how that happened.
Health issues to his growing list of problems. The robbery trial was eventually delayed because Suge was already facing far more serious charges related to a separate case. On January 29, 2015, things took a tragic turn. Knight was involved in a hit-and-run incident in Compton, California that left one man dead and another seriously injured. The victim who died was Terry Carter, a close friend and co-founder of Heavyweight Records, while the survivor, filmmaker CLE Sloan, suffered severe injuries, including fractures in his ankles and head trauma.
Where Knight's truck apparently runs over the two men. The truck backs up, hits one man. Seconds later, the truck comes back and runs over.
Witnesses claimed the incident wasn't an accident. They alleged Knight deliberately ran the men over after a heated argument on the Straight Outta Compton film set spilled over into a nearby burger stand parking lot. Security footage later surfaced, appearing to show Knight mowing down both men with his truck before fleeing the scene. Suge claimed it was self-defense, but the evidence painted a different picture. As the Emder trial began to unfold, Suge's health became a recurring issue. In March 2015, he was hospitalized after telling a judge he was going blind and experiencing other complications. That same month, he fired his legal team, claiming he wasn't getting proper medical treatment while in custody. Around this time, his bail was initially set at a staggering $25 million. The announcement didn't sit well with Suge. He collapsed in court after hearing the figure. His bail was eventually reduced to $10 million, but the legal battles and his health issues only got worse.
Yeah, it was eventually reduced to 10. I was in the county jail with Suge. He was in high power. We used to be in a lawyer's visiting area together. He went down there every day. In fact, his lawyers had gotten into some trouble while he was fighting that case. They were alleged to have been trying to contact the victims and pay the victims off and this and that. That Suge was doing this through his lawyers is the allegation, or was the allegation. Suge Knight is coming home soon now. He has been in there for 11 years or so, some time. He's older now. But my goodness. His bail was $25 million. They dropped it down to $10 million. And he still couldn't bail out. Floyd Mayweather had said that he was going to bail him out. I remember me and my mother speaking about this while I was in the visiting area in the county jail. She had come to visit me. And she was talking about how Floyd Mayweather essentially had backed out of it when he was saying at first that he was going to bail Suge out, that he was willing to bail him out. Jamie Foxx, Tyson, all kind of people. Yeah, but why does Suge Knight need anyone to bail him out a bail of $10 million, you don't have to pay the whole $10 million. 10% oftentimes, that would be $1 million. Sometimes you can pay less than that. They knocked it down to 1% at one point, $100,000. But even if it was $1 million, he should have that with no problem, and the property, whatever, to put up, considering that he was nearly a billionaire. He was on his way to being a billionaire. Like Jay-Z and P. Diddy, he was on his way to being a billionaire before all of this stuff began to happen and death row went off of the rails.
By July 2015, his lawyer revealed that Knight might have a brain tumor, which only added to his already long list of ailments. Despite his declining health, the judge refused to lower his bail. Over the next year, Knight went through multiple attorneys, swapping legal counsel repeatedly as the Emder case dragged on. In July 2016, the court denied Knight's request to reveal the identities of key prosecution witnesses, citing his history of violence as a risk factor. Knight grew emotional after the ruling, stating he feared his health problems would cause him to die in jail. By March 2017, he was back in the hospital due to ongoing blood clots, a condition that had plagued him for over 2 years by then. These health setbacks repeatedly delayed his trial, pushing it all the way to September 2018. In February 2017, he was hit with yet another indictment, this time for allegedly threatening F. Gary Gray, the director of Straight Outta Compton. Prosecutors accused Suge of sending menacing text messages back on August 8, 2014, where he reportedly made threats of death or bodily harm. The details of the texts weren't made public, but the accusations were serious enough to lead to a grand jury indictment. Suge, however, pleaded not guilty, insisting he hadn't threatened Gray, despite the new charges. This particular case didn't stick. As part of his plea deal in the death of Terry Carter, the charges related to the alleged threats were eventually dropped. When the trial finally arrived, Suge decided to cut his losses. He pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter, a move that spared him a life sentence but still carried heavy consequences. On sentencing day, the judge handed Knight a 28-year prison term, 22 years for running over Terry Carter, and an additional 6 years under California's 3 strikes law. It was a harsh but not unexpected outcome, given his long history of violence and run-ins with the law. As of March 2023, Suge Knight remains incarcerated at R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego. He won't be eligible for parole until October 2034, leaving him with a long road ahead behind bars. His life, once filled with power and influence in the music industry, has become a cautionary tale of violence, bad decisions, and the heavy price of a life lived recklessly. As for Bruce, he will always be known as a hustler extraordinaire and someone who did right by people.
No, Suge Knight is coming home before 2034. Remember, his son, Lil Suge, just covered that recently, said that Suge Knight has about 2 years left, I believe it is, 2029 or something. They have all the sorts of situations there in prison where you can get your time reduced. So his out date may have been 2034 at first, but could very well be 2029 or so, 2028 right now. In fact, that's what his son said. Suge will be home in 2 to 3 years or so. But again, he's been in there for some time, and he's a lot older now. But every time I think about Suge and see Suge, I just think about everything that could have been. But that's what a lot of situations, hell, I think about that with my life, for that matter. What could have been, But sometimes we are our own worst enemies. Don't know what happened with Bruce Richardson there. You all let me know what you think in the comments. But we see some of what happened, and the speculation at least, that apparently Suge Knight accosted his girl, if you will, after withholding his funds that he earned, bullying him or just taking his money and saying, I'm not giving you your money. They meet up, and to add insult to injury, after I took your money, little boy, I'm now finna take your girl. Sit down. You come with me. And snatched this girl up. Dude get up and break his chin. Broke his face off. What you mean? Broke that face off. Knocked him out. But I mean, man, 24 hours, 2 weeks later, I'm still confused. But whichever one it was, he was dead. Bruce Richardson. And 48 hours after that, his girl was dead. What the hell is going on? Crazy work. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free. People.